From the Edge of the Web studios, here's what we're looking at this week.
We wanted to start off with our good friend Barry Schwartz over at Search Engine Roundtable, Google Ads Editor version 1.1, and Keyword Planner Ads. Most relevant keywords. The Google Ads team released upgrades to both the Google Ads Editor and Keyword Planner tool. The Google Ads Editor is now at version 1.1 and added a bunch of new features. The Keyword Planner tool can now actually show the most relevant keyword ideas right in the tool. So I gotta jump in here and ask Kirk. Kirk, are you using these tools regularly?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, so we use Editor especially all the time. We'll use Keyword Planner, especially as we're building out new builds in that. Editor is where we're doing a lot of bulk edits in that. Sure. And I'm always delighted whenever Google or Bing releases an editor update, because it means that they've not decided to kill it off yet. I keep thinking that might be coming eventually, and they keep releasing updates. So good.
Yeah.
Keep doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep it going, because that's one of the few tools that are outside of the SaaS browser box that they have. And it's always been very useful to be able to have that software right in the desktop. When was the last time that they updated this? Do you remember?
I don't think it's been that long, though. I think a few months or that. Good. I'm not sure. I always click the yeah, sure update whenever it does, and I forget.
Yep. Well, it's good to be able to see that, and it honestly is one of the best ad editor engines, because when you compare ad management to a number of different platforms, and we're certainly proponents of some good tools that are out there, it just does not have the collective control that you do in the editor, right?
Yeah, I mean, if there's people listening who don't use it, because I'll still run into people who do a lot of PPC who I have never even heard that there's an editor out there. You've got to check it out. You've got to download it, because the stuff that you can do in bulk will save you so much time in editor. So Google's done a good job with it.
Some of the features that they have actually dropped off, according to the article over at Search Engine Roundtable. They simplified the editor experience. They've dropped off a few features. Destination URL, final URLs are replacing destination URLs as part of the URL upgrade. You can no longer create or edit ads using the destination URL. Dynamic search ads, the regular dynamic search ad DSA, have been deprecated as well. They're different from the expanded DSA. You cannot create new DSAs anymore. Responsive ads, previously known as DRAs, responsive ads shouldn't, they're not to be confused with the asset-based responsive display ads. Well, you can't create those anymore as well. But all things considered, did you find, Kirk, that you were making more changes in the ads, those particular types of ads, on the Google Ads network as opposed to the editor?
I think pretty much most of what they've deprecated, we haven't been doing much with anyways anymore. So I wasn't concerned by anything that they had deprecated.
So good riddance, I'm saying. It's great to be able to see that they're focused on that tool. All right, so from Roger Monti over at Search Engine Journal, check this out. We wanted to bring this to you as soon as we came across it. Google publishes core algorithm updates guidance. So they actually have published, Google has published official guidance on the core updates that go beyond anything that they've published before. The guidance covers 4 areas of content and recommends becoming acquainted with Google's Quality Rater guideline to learn how to judge your own content. The guidance additionally mentioned that updates could affect Google Discover. Now, this is a precedent-setting thing, is that Google is they have stayed behind the Webmaster Guidelines for the longest time, and they also have the continued Google Webmasters Forum. But this guideline is fantastic. They're actually jumping into it and really contributing into understanding how to navigate the Quality Raters Guideline. Kirk, what do you think about that?
Well, I'm primarily PPC, so I think that it's pretty cool, and I don't think I have much more to add beyond that.
So exactly. So we wanted to throw you a curveball, but along the same lines of what they're doing with their updates and their different products in that space. Are you seeing a growth of Google commitment to communication of the different practitioners of their platforms?
Yeah, so this might be interesting if you have any SEO listeners for
Mhm.
this one, because so I'll follow certain people online. So Danny Sullivan, some of the main SEO people, especially
Sure.
if I've met them, at speaking at conferences or that. And I do like to keep somewhat on top of SEO news. And I could be totally wrong, but as a PPCer looking from the outside in, it does seem like, especially with Danny Sullivan going over, it does seem like there has
Mhm.
been an increase from what I can tell in communication and that on the SEO realm.
Yep.
Um, Honestly, I think the exact opposite has been happening in PPC, which is
Oh
really
my gosh.
interesting to me. It almost seemed like it just seemed like it was easier to connect even on Twitter with certain Googlers, or you'd see them at conferences more.
Mhm.
There almost seems to be this a little bit of a pullback in terms of public communication. We obviously still maintain a lot of communication with our reps and that, and that would be something that obviously we have that SEOers don't. So I'm not necessarily complaining or anything. I think it's just interesting to me. Like there's no Google Ads evangelist that
Right.
I'm aware of. I know Matt Lawson does something, but I don't think he is that. I believe Frederick Valais was like the first and only one that he'll joke about that. So
Yeah. There's nobody in that space, and it certainly would behoove them to 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 bring out some individuals that are strong proponents of the practitioners, the agencies, and the executioners of PPC, so there can at least be a relationship. We saw some increased communication in the local services ad space, but it's really surprising that especially with such an important factor, because we're sending money in there regularly on behalf of our clients, that they don't have that much engagement with their audience. That's unfortunate. But anyway, you know what's not unfortunate? Google actually launched a new algorithm to better understand useful and timely information. This is over on Search Engine Land by Barry Schwartz as well. As part of the ongoing efforts to make search work better for you, they're quoted, a new algorithm update improves our system's understanding of what information remains useful over time and what becomes out of date more quickly. This is particularly helpful for featured snippets, a feature in search that highlights pages that our systems determine are most likely to have the information that you're looking for. For queries where fresh information is important, our systems will try to find the most useful and up-to-date feature snippets, says Google. Interesting enough is that if you go to that page, there's a good deal of screen captures of the fresh content. So they're actively scouring the recent posts. But there were a few insights in social, especially Twitter, where some screen captures were going array because literally the fresh top SEO tasks of 2019 had a 2017 date to it, and it's just like, oh, come on, give them a break, guys. I mean, they're trying to get their game in order. I know SEO is not your beat, but I mean, at the same time, for them to be able to continue to try to improve this, and on top of that, be forthcoming of what these updates are, they have really stepped up their game and letting SEOs know, pay attention to this. This is what we're taking care of right now. So, any thoughts in that space?
yeah, no, I think it's great. As a user, almost more than a digital marketer, I like to hear about that stuff because to me, fresh and quality obviously is a big deal for SERPs.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that's interesting, and again, I might have SEOers throwing stuff at me. That's fair. I deserve it. But man, I get the argument and the concern about Google putting stuff into the SERPs
Mm-hmm.
that is not Google's. So I understand that you do have weird things to consider with trademark and copyrights and all that stuff. But as a user, I love when I'm searching for something, especially kind of something that's just a quick and easy answer. I love like the snippets and I love answer boxes. Absolutely love that stuff because more often than not, if I click on that stupid link, I'm going to some website that is just going to be an awful experience. It's going to take forever to load. I'm like, right? So there's kind of that I don't know. I think there's that thing that everyone's got to keep figuring out because we really do want that stuff right in Google really easy. It really is better for user stuff, but I also totally understand, Google just stealing everyone's content isn't really fair either. So You guys go ahead and figure it out now.
Well, I mean, it could be argued that, that Google's actually showcasing the content that's coming from that particular website, and that users, since they've decluttered the entire SERP environment with the removal of the side panel ads. No offense, PPC. I know that was.
Hey, my shopping ads are still there.
Absolutely. But I mean, they decluttered it, so it's much more user friendly, and people are actually going to stay around that experience a good deal longer. That's where featured snippets are so valuable, because it's clean, it's answering the question, and with timeliness being another component, you got to step up your game, because if you're not pushing content, if you're hanging on, okay, finally you got that position 0, beautiful, right? But if you're not keeping pulse with what is really updated, yeah, you're going to fall off. It's going to be a level of atrophy, and competitors, or I should say the people that are pushing that level of truth and relevancy, I mean, they should be moving their strategies towards that. It's just real marketing. It's real content, as opposed to, again, another fabrication in the realm of SEO. I think this is just another level of, I guess, purification of results, to say the least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If I'm asking, like, if I want to know what's the temperature in Phoenix, I don't want to go somewhere. Just tell me Google.
Yeah. These are simple answers, and we just hope that they are continue to improve the kind of the non-biased perspective, as opposed to being swayed by anything, because there are certainly controversial topics that can also have timely relevancy, or lack thereof, that we really want them to stay away from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great point. And I understand that's where you get into some of the complexity of, sometimes it's kind of all or nothing. You can't always pick and choose with that stuff. So,
yep. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to see more of our content, or especially more of this week's featured guest, including a full-length interview, head on over to YouTube and search for Edge of the Web. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell if you want to see digital marketing news as it happens.